Welcome, Cancer and Cancer Cross Watchers, to your reading for this week. I'm sorry they're a little late, guys. Unfortunately, I've just had a very busy week. So, Cancer, whoops. So we have the Queen of Wands and Judgment here. Cancer, I feel like somebody is not, it doesn't feel like they're stealing your thunder necessarily, but I feel like they seem to be taking some liberties here. They may be, it feels like someone is talking about something like they've already accomplished it when they've only thought about working towards it, right? And I feel like you're looking at them wondering, like, they're talking a really good game, but they may not be able to, they may not be able to live up to what they're saying they're going to do. And I feel like this seems to be somebody that gets they really need people to like them. It feels like the type of person that they get a lot out of people kind of like validating, and like they need a lot of that energy from other people. And I feel like you're kind of sitting here, it feels almost in a little bit of shock about it. Okay, what's going on with Cancer, and then we'll get one for what's going on with this person. So Cancer. So the Five of Pentacles. I'm just going to make sure nothing else is flipped over. Okay. And Cancer's person. Oh dear. So you have the Five of Pentacles, and your person has the King of Pentacles. So your person, to their credit, some people talk a good game because they want the attention and they need that validation, but there really isn't going to be any follow through. From what I'm seeing, this person has every intention of following through. They seem to feel that, I'm going to be honest, Cancer, if you've told this person that, or you've given them any inclination that you kind of feel like they might be spreading themselves a little bit too thin, they are not happy about it. It feels like it's almost like if you have said anything to this person, saying like, maybe you should wait until you have some ducks in a row, until the balls started rolling, right? I feel like now they're announcing it even more, to spite you. Because to their mind, they do have every intention of actually following through. And I feel like you might be feeling a little bit left behind. I feel like the way that they're doing it is, it almost has a little bit of like a cutthroat sort of feeling to it, right? It just kind of feels like, let's say, for example, may not be the actual situation, but let's say the feedback that you've given this person until this point has usually been pretty positive. And when you said something like, oh, I'm not sure that's a great idea, it's like they did not take it well, right? Like instead of taking it as constructive criticism and maybe discussing, kind of what you're concerned about, they took it personally. And I feel like you're over here like, well, it really wasn't meant to be a personal attack, of course. And I feel like if that is the way that they've taken it, their coldness towards you, it feels pretty hurtful. It kind of has this energy of like, look, I was just trying to help you. And now this person is, you were just trying to help them, and they kind of smacked you in the face for it here. So we're just going to pull from this deck. Whoops. Okay. Maybe not if I can't shuffle. Sorry, guys. Can we get one for Cancer? Can we get one for Cancer? we have the Three of Cups. Yeah, you thought that the bond was a little bit, was a little bit, you thought it was different than it was. That's for sure. And I feel like there is a lot of like reminiscing energy going on with you right now. It feels like whatever coldness that they're kind of sending your way here, it feels like it was very sudden, very abrupt. And from what I'm seeing, it looks like you're still kind of reeling from that. Now let's see what's going on with your person here. So we have the Ace of Swords and the Eight of Cups. With the Three of Cups at the bottom of the deck. You're not really going to like what I have to say here. Maybe you won't. From what I'm seeing, it's like you said whatever you said to this person and they kind of took it as a like, oh, that's how you feel? That's what you think? Well, then just leave. Right? It feels like it was this, at least from your perspective, a very unwarranted reaction, right? It's almost like, let's say, for example, like you're not really somebody that has a, an abrasive way about you. And I feel like the reason that this person's reaction has you kind of like in a bit of shock, like, and it's not that you don't know how to move forward or you don't know what to do, you're just shocked by it. I feel like they're looking at it like, well, if that's how Cancer feels, then they can just hit the road type deal, right? Like, oh, sorry, just realizing that you can't see. They seem to feel that, like, it's almost like, well, if that's how Cancer really feels about me, then they can just hit the road. And they seem to have, I'm sorry to say, this is not very easy to hear. From what I'm seeing, they kind of seem to want to cut you off now. Yikes. Oh, I was going to say, can we get, oh, okay. Oh, brace yourself, Cancer. I feel like this person's kind of vindictive. I feel like you come in with one piece of constructive criticism and this person will come at you with like the fire of 1,000 suns. You know what I mean? Like, they seem to be somebody that whatever you give them, they amplify. Or whatever they perceive that you're giving them, they amplify. And it's like, well, if Cancer is going to say that, it's like, for example, if you were at a party with friends and they accidentally, like, they ate something and there was still something on their face and you were like, oh no, there's like, and you tried to just motion to them from across the table, like, oh, there's something on your, there's a crumb on your chin. It's like they would assume that everyone saw that and they would immediately go on the attack and they would tear into you about all this other stuff. And like, they would use all of your, what they perceive as like your weak points against you, right? Like they would just like, it feels like you could knock on the door and they're going to break it down. It's that type of like that difference. So I feel like this person, okay. I'm not going to put my own 2 cents in here. From what I'm seeing, it looks like this person might kind of, like, this whole situation sends them into this tailspin, starting to think that like you're talking bad about them and you're this and you're that. And it's like they start imagining all of this stuff that you're somehow their arch nemesis now, and you're kind of still over here wondering like, what is even happening? I feel like this person might not be used to being in balanced relationships. Yeah. I think they're just not really used to having a certain balance, right? It's almost like everything in their life is either all good or all bad. Excuse me. And the second it seems all bad, it's cut off completely. And I feel like because obviously the beginning of the relationship didn't seem that way, it's like they may have been seeing certain things that you've been doing that they didn't really like. And and when and it's almost like those things were either neutral or they would have been positive. But I feel like this person, you know, got into the habit of assuming the worst, assuming that people have the worst intentions for them. And, you know, between me, you, and the fence post, when somebody is conditioned to think that way, it's usually because that's their lived experience, right? So, and I feel like the point of that is it's not about you. It's not anything you did or didn't do or you could do. I feel like this person has, you know, because of what they've experienced in their life, they've conditioned themselves to assume. They just assume that the worst is going to happen. They assume that people are going to mess them around. They assume that people don't like them. And I feel like, and that's why they're in this place. So it's like that, I feel like, is part of the reason that they need so much. They need other people to approve of them, to like them, because it's like they need that confirmation that they are likable, but they need it from other people. Right? It feels like the type of person that has never really like stopped and sat and thought about how they're feeling, and thought like and considered if what they're thinking about the world around them makes sense to them. And I feel to a certain extent too that they may I'm not really sure at this point in time that they're willing to even have a conversation with you. I kind of feel like if you were to reach out, it would be like one that's full of like they'd be really condescending and sarcastic and kind of full of vitriol. So, I think we're just going to get a card for any, any advice moving forward. Any advice for Cancer moving forward? I'm sorry if this is what's going on, Cancer. It must be pretty... Here's the thing. So we have the Knight of Cups reversed. The Knight of Cups upright usually talks about like a loving message coming in, that sort of thing. So I feel like, number one, don't really expect this person to come back around. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But the message here is don't really wait for that or expect it, because I feel like this is the type of person that when they cut someone off, they cut them off. That's it. They compartmentalize the whole thing and they don't think about you again. And I'm sorry if that is not easy to hear. I feel like I've said that a bunch of times this reading. I also feel like if you want to reach out to this person, no one can stop you. I feel like there's just a message here to be really careful with your heart right now. And I feel like if you do go to approach this person, you're going to see pretty quickly by how they act, whether or not you should open up to them, whether or not you should have a heart to heart with them. Right? From what I'm seeing, I kind of feel like you may really want to have a connection with this person. And of course, do what's true to you, what makes you feel like yourself and what you're going to be okay with down the line. But also bearing in mind that there's a lot going on with this person that didn't originate with you and wasn't put there by you. And from what I'm seeing, they're not really in a place where they're looking to fix it either. So I love you, Cancer. I hope you have a good week. I hope you're able to do some things that make you feel good and cared for. And we will see you on the next one. Much love. Bye.